Amy, the president's wife, suddenly noticed a woman's lipstick mark on her husband John's collar. Yet she didn't feel angry, for she knew he was courting disaster. Just minutes earlier, she'd received an employee's medical report and was shocked to discover her husband's young secretary had contracted AIDS. But before she could tell her husband, the office echoed with his suggestive conversation with the secretary. Amy's heart instantly shattered. The boy who once knelt before her proposing, swearing a solemn oath that betrayal would bring him a fatal disease, had ultimately chosen to betray her. But she was the type to let things go, so she deliberately knocked on the door. Only after her husband had hidden the secretary away did she open the door and step inside. Though she saw the secretary crouched beneath the desk, she said nothing to her husband. She planned to let John reap what he sowed. But unexpectedly, the secretary dared to confront him publicly, deliberately splashing coffee on him. Everyone in the company knew he had a gentle temperament, but what the secretary didn't know was, Amy wouldn't tolerate such insolence. She slapped the secretary across the face. The commotion drew her husband's attention, and he rushed over. But to her utter shock, he picked up the secretary without hesitation, and carried her away right before her eyes, leaving her utterly humiliated. The secretary even managed a smug grin. Amy immediately pulled out her phone, and instructed her lawyer to draft divorce papers. She'd intended a dignified parting, but her husband returned, groveling, pleading to spend their wedding anniversary together. Seeing his fawning manner, a flicker of doubt flickered in her heart. But then, her husband received a call from the mistress. Hearing she was in trouble, he panicked, turning to rush to her aid. Amy grabbed him by the arm. Finding her petty, he instantly turned hostile. Watching him fret over the mistress, he casually pulled out the divorce papers. Her husband snatched the papers in panic, signing his name without a second glance. Watching him walk away without looking back, Amy pulled out the secretary's medical report. If John returned tonight, she planned to show him the secretary's HIV-positive diagnosis. But she had overestimated her husband. Right in front of the secretary, John staged a dramatic rescue, unaware it was all part of her scheme. Through the secretary's meticulous planning, John ultimately crossed his moral boundaries. Yet the next day, he stormed home, demanding answers from his wife, accusing her of drugging the secretary to take her virginity. Amy found it laughable, never imagining her husband could be so foolish. But John, brainwashed by the secretary, had lost all reason. He even raised his hand against his wife of many years. Fortunately, John soon received a call from the secretary threatening suicide. But before leaving, he still managed to threaten her. If anything happened to the secretary, he wouldn't let it go. No sooner had John left than Amy received a bed photo from the secretary, a blatant provocation. From that day on, John never returned home. He paraded the secretary to every social event. Before long, a month passed. Amy smoothly obtained her divorce papers and received an invitation to an auction. She also heard rumors that an AIDS-treating inhibitor would be up for bid. This piqued Amy's interest. Little did she know, upon entering the auction hall, she'd encounter that despicable pair again. John even had the nerve to lecture her about her mistakes. Little did he know Amy already had the divorce papers in hand to teach her a lesson. Whatever item Amy bid on, John outbid her tenfold. He even claimed it was to apologize to the secretary on Amy's behalf. But Amy only saw him as a fool. Finally, the last item came up for auction, the nation's sole supply of an AIDS-treating inhibitor. Amy saw her chance for revenge. She immediately bid 20 million. Seeing the big shots scrambling to outbid each other, Amy raised the stakes to 30 million. But this gave the secretary an opening to stir trouble. She whispered to John, sowing doubt that Amy was bidding so high because she had a dirty disease. John couldn't sit still upon hearing this. He stepped forward to demand why she wanted the drug so badly, suspecting Amy had contracted AIDS. This instantly drew a crowd of onlookers, but Amy refused to engage with him, snatching the paddle to bid again. John's rage flared instantly. Seeing Amy still bidding, John blasted out a staggering 100 million. Seeing John bid so high, Amy thought he knew about her infection from the secretary and backed out of the bidding. But after John secured the serum, he turned on her, demanding if she had AIDS. Amy's evasive answer infuriated John, who believed her betrayal caused his infection. Yet Amy kept provoking him. John demanded if she'd gotten sick from sleeping around, he'd smash it and never give it to her. But Amy showed no fear, instead adopting a careless attitude. Seeing this, John smashed the drug he just bought for 100 million into smithereens in front of everyone. This played right into Amy's trap. John stood on the moral high ground, accusing her of paying the price for her betrayal. The secretary stirred the pot further, turning him into the subject of gossip. Amy calmly produced the test results, demanding John see who was truly infected. At first, John dismissed it, still cursing her loose morals. But the next moment, he froze. The HIV-positive patient was the secretary. John stood rooted to the spot.